Yeah, for work.
That must be
And
fun.
it was cool. And like now I'm starting to look for jobs in quantum computing because that's here. Like,
Well, then the fluid stuff kind of problem.
it's true.
And
But it's gonna get more and more.
well, that may be. And the other piece of that. It's large language models.
Yeah, yeah,
As long as it hallucinates, which is inherent in how it works,
yeah.
it's no good.
I mean, there's always gonna be a level of
Hello.
hallucination. It's hey, listen,
Didn't enjoy the weather.
that
I love the weather.
So you did.
I'm from New England. This is great.
this is great. I'm from Massachusetts and I'm not dealing
Well,
with it.
somebody I didn't think it was great.
Where you from?
Boylston, outside of Worcester.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At least you said it right.
it's cold. It was cold. It's cold.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
It's cold in
The
New
wind
York
picked up.
also.
I'm from Boston. I went to school in Buffalo.
oh, that's the TJF meeting. That was at Buffalo stuff right there.
Yeah.
I'm heading up to Syracuse on the 5th for
We
state.
used to have pizza at these meetings.
They're coming.
Oh,
Oh wow, dude, it's fine.
Yeah, no, pizza's coming.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be here by 6:30.
not burgers.
It's an audience.
So we're the members.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, my father used to speak of parents association.
Maybe.
yes,
Yeah, because the parents association at the same time thing, they wander, you know.
yeah, they wander in.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Voice.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Fahmi Zukari.
Are you? Yes, you were the applicant for tonight.
Yes.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
We're not
You're
quite
welcome.
ready.
Sorry for the delay. Just
No,
waiting
you're
for
fine.
yeah,
We are
just waiting
still
for
waiting.
attorney.
Nope, you're good. We're still waiting for other members to join, so hang tight and we'll call your application when it's time.
No
Okay?
worries. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
You should stick a candle in the piece of pie, so it's a birthday cake.
It's a yeah, birthday pie.
What always cracked me up is that my German mother liked pizza. Made no sense to me.
I don't know anyone that doesn't like pizza. I think I know one person that doesn't like pizza because they don't like cheese.
Yeah,
That'll do it.
no, I like, yeah.
I don't know anyone else that does not like pizza.
Although I just read an article, the pizza business is going down.
Why?
Don't know. And what's
Didn't it have any
becoming,
theories?
you
Okay.
know, a lot of these chains are having trouble and
Try to
stuff.
promote Hector. He doesn't want
And
to. Okay.
the thing that's doing well, sushi.
Oh,
And you know why? It's so convenient.
what?
Fucking A.
Well, you just told him just now.
No, before we had a conversation. I'm like, listen, I want these guys under 11K. They spent all this fucking money. They paid 60K. I mean, they had to pay 60K for another 6 months. I gave them 100K. They're improving the value of the property. I gave them a whole fucking list.
10-5.
I said,
We can hear you, sir.
oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my. I'm sorry.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's just get things going. Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Hello.
I am going to call this meeting to order. It is 6:42. We'll start with the review of the calendars.
And you have a forum?
We do have quorum. We have 8 people.
You said 6:42,
Yes.
and who's on Zoom?
Mary.
Mary and Wayne. Hi, Mary. Hi, Wayne.
Hi.
Hello and Happy New Year.
You too. You.
I think those are the only 2 members. Yeah.
Hector, but he didn't want to be voted.
No. And he's not a member of the committee. All right, so we will get started reviewing the February meeting. Sorry, the calendar. Did anyone have any changes that they wanted to make to February?
I don't see February. I only see January. There,
No.
thank you.
Go ahead, Mary. You don't have any?
No, can't, I don't have it because I'm not there at the meeting.
Okay,
We have your meeting scheduled for Thursday, February 5th at 10:30 a.m. and Thursday, March 5th at 10:30 a.m.
Okay, I
You
think
good with
those are,
that?
yeah, I am.
great. Changes we've already made. So the executive committee meeting in February will take place on Tuesday, February 17th due to President's Day. Normally we meet on that Monday. The other big change we're making moving forward is the district service cabinet meeting will no longer meet the 3rd Thursday of each month. It will now meet the 2nd Monday of each month. The reason we decided to change that was because it overlapped with the borough board meeting. And so in order for me to attend, we did a survey of the agencies. We gave them a couple of dates, and that was the consensus. 2nd Monday of each month. So that will be the date for district service moving forward.
Time will that be on? Yeah,
It'll still be at 10 a.m.
at 10, okay.
Yep. The other change that we are making is beginning February 1st, the cannabis task force will be dissolved. Applicants will now appear before the licensing committee moving forward. So this is Noble's last meeting as a chair. Nobles,
3 years of service.
thank you so much for your service.
Hey.
Doing an amazing job.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Here.
The Cannabis Task Force did great work setting everything up, putting the questionnaires
Yep.
together, the materials. But now that it's fully formed, what our expectations are, it's on to licensing to proceed with the review.
Good luck to see though, if he's on there.
I don't think he is.
All right, it's all in person.
Right,
No, this
any,
feels like a good model.
yeah,
Thank you.
Good work. Proud of you.
yes.
Appreciate it. Hey, you set down the blueprint for me in parts, so I had it.
Thank you for that.
Well,
All right, any other questions about either month? And then moving forward, Mary and anyone who attends online, we'll make sure that these are posted in the same drive. We will include any of the materials moving forward. This way you can review them in advance.
I have one thing related to the calendar,
Okay,
and that is, it's not for March, it's for April.
okay,
I'm mentioning it now so that we make sure to take a look at it next month.
okay.
April, there are gonna be, is gonna be Passover. I believe Easter might be early, so I think there, yeah, I don't think Easter really poses a conflict, because we don't have meetings on Good Friday anyway. But I just want to make sure that we get on the agenda for next month, making sure that we take care of April in good time so that nobody's surprised and going, oh my goodness, Passover.
Right, okay, yeah, we'll definitely flag it to
Thank you.
discuss next month. Thank you.
Oof.
I have a question. I know that we
Yeah.
had discussed, youth and education will have a public hearing soon.
Yeah, we're still working out the details, but that will be something that we hope to do in February.
Okay.
And so that would be updated in this calendar and reflected on here.
I wanted, I'm gonna speak to Tanisha on the side. I wanna have a joint meeting. Just to discuss, I know the universal daylighting conversation is coming up soon. So it's a debate whether they wanna do it district wide or by the schools, so we want the input of youth and education. I think they're the best research.
Great.
I'll
Sounds
speak to
good.
you offline.
Are you thinking of doing that in February or would that be in March?
I would think March.
Okay,
February, I have a couple presentations lined up for the community.
Me too. So I'll
So-
be mindful of that when we're making the calendar for March.
Yeah.
Let's pull up.
And this is regarding daylighting?
Universal daylight is a couple subjects, but universal
Okay,
daylight. is
that's
like-
fine. Thank you.
So, and anything that youth and education wants to see on the streets near the schools, I think it's good to bring it up at this point.
agreed.
Love that. Thank you.
Any other comments for the calendars? Right, so I'm gonna consider the February meeting calendars to be final. This way I could put them in Link NYC and they'll be broadcasted closer to their dates. All right,
Great.
next on the agenda is my update. So I have a couple of things. Let's start with the committee composition. So I've shared with all the chairs at this point two versions of the committee composition changes. One a couple weeks ago. I spoke with, I believe, all of you at this point, and then made changes based on those conversations. So the version that is now in the Google Drive that I shared late last week is the final version. Unless there is some urgent reason to change a person at this point, let's consider that to be the final committee composition framework. Any questions or concerns anyone wants to raise at this point?
Just for the purposes of the minutes of
Yeah.
this meeting, were there a lot of changes?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
More than 20, I would say.
okay.
I can find an exact number. There is a tab on that spreadsheet called changes, and it shows who was striked from a committee, who was added to a committee. That's in green. So that's a good indicator, and that'll be shared with the broader board too ahead of the general board meeting.
So you said the version currently on the Google Drive is what's,
That's the latest and greatest. In addition, as I noted, we've dissolved formally the Cannabis Task Force. I also formally dissolved the Bylaws Task Force. It hasn't been meeting anyway. If we have a need to revisit the bylaws, of course, we can revive it, but until that need arises, that's been dissolved. On the flip side, however, I have chartered a special committee, the Outreach Committee. First, thank you, Leo, for the idea. I had noted it in my intro email to the board. And the concept really is to come together, have a group of people view where the gaps are in our communications. What are we not doing to get the message out there about what we do and how we do it, when we meet, etc. So over the course of the next year, that is its purpose. And the end goal will be to provide some kind of document that provides a list of recommendations on how we can improve. I have asked Tai Fujimura to chair that committee. The reason being is he's been crucial in getting our website updated. He's gone through, cleaned it up. This is what he does day in and day out. And so I think he's great to serve on that committee. The committee composition framework I just mentioned includes who else is on that committee. So feel free to review that and let me know if you have any feedback.
Will they report monthly here?
Yeah, so the chair will serve as a member of this committee, so Ty will be a member. Yes.
I think this is the considerating, but all the credentials are owned by the board.
The credentials.
The passwords.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Because way
Wow.
back when we had a that's necessary.
Yeah.
Because way back when we had someone who did it and then he went away and.
So that actually remains the case and is a problem with our Facebook page. We have our own Facebook page where the credentials are maintained by the board office. But to your point, there was an instance where there was a former board member who created a Facebook page that has quite a following, hasn't been updated. She has not responded to emails from us to share the credentials, so we have no way to access it. 2 weeks ago, I did send a letter to Meta requesting that page be taken down. I haven't heard back yet. I know. I'm sure it just got lost in the swamp of things, but I thought, worth the shot.
Yeah.
So I will follow up if there are any updates on that front, but everything else, yes, is with the board.
I apologize for being late, Chair.
No worries.
Sorry.
50 lashes with a wet linguine.
I hadn't taken out my big jacket.
Yeah, you did.
Sure. So other updates just to tick through, as I'm sure you've all seen, there's now a newsroom section of our website where we publish press releases each time there is something newsworthy that the board does. So far, we have, I think, 3 or 4 press releases up there. The other thing we're using that site for is to convey positive messages. So there was some recent press around an Inwood resident who lost some cash that she intended on using for rent. And her neighbors came together and helped her over the holidays supplement that lost cash so she wasn't delayed on her rent. So we posted a short blurb about that. So that's the point, is really to spread the word about what we're doing and what our good neighbors are doing. As I think many of you have seen, we've made changes to our website. We're on Link NYC. We now have a LinkedIn page, so a couple of things there that we're updating. So please take advantage of all of them. With Link NYC, public hearings can also go up there. Events can go up there. So if there's anything that the board is sponsoring, let's just be mindful of that. So this way I know and I can put it up and circulate it in every screen throughout the district. I've spent the last 3 weeks meeting with many people, electeds, agency representatives. As I think you all know, New York Presbyterians nurses are currently on strike. I've met both with the Vice President of Government Affairs for NYP, as well as some of the leaders from NYSNA, just to understand what's going on and what the path forward is. So lots of meetings. I'll keep everyone updated on the outcomes of those meetings. Really, the electeds want to be more involved. One way is through the newsroom. So I've added them to the distribution list that we send to the press when we launch or publish a new press release. They get those two now moving forward, so they could see the exact same press release in real time.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. You said regarding the strike, you met with NYSNA, the hospital, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Internships, we are in the process of working with City College to bring on 2 interns over the summer. One will be an outreach intern, the other will be a policymaking intern. We're still writing out exactly what both of those would look like. We're, of course, looking for candidates that fit the needs of each one. I think the outreach one would be focused on a lot of the same things that the special committee will be focused on, and may even have an advisory role with that committee, help liaise some of the conversations between that special committee and the office and myself. And then the policymaking one will help us with a lot of the criticisms we've received over the years and making sure that we are following up with agencies when we pass resolutions, helping us build out policies and procedures for the office to ensure that gets done on a regular basis, etc. On to the district manager. So I have been in close contact with OMB, sending them emails every week. The last response I've gotten from OMB was that there had something to do with the lump sum payment of our former district manager. They have to reevaluate how they're going to onboard our new district manager under our existing budget parameters. So more to come on that. I'm staying on top of them. I don't want to be acting district manager for much longer. So believe me, I will stay on top of it and do my best to get Kiana Diaz onboarded. Yes.
The lump sum relates to accrued vacation, sick, or a combination of the two.
The former is my understanding, accrued vacation and
Uh,
comp time.
So
Is this minor?
it's yours. Feels to me like this is gonna be an opportunity going forward to monitor the new DM's use or not of comp time and sick leave and whatever, so that 2 or 12 years from now, we don't have this problem again. I mean, I wouldn't want to get into like a use it or lose it thing, but there's real value in making sure that folks aren't hugely accruing lots of leave so as to not saddle. I don't know what our current comp time policies are in terms of making sure that people take their comp time timely and that sort of thing, but
Wouldn't that function of city policy?
That's exactly what I was gonna
I
say.
think so.
it is a city policy, but there may or may not be the potential for variable practice agency by agency. That's not something that we necessarily can answer here. That's a fact-finding thing. And then whatever the policy is, we should be making sure that folks are like not accruing endless leave.
Sure.
That's just kind of a drag.
Jim?
We had a district manager many years ago who approved huge amount of leave and such. And it actually badly impacted our budget for the entire year. There's a huge amount of money.
Literally what we're dealing with right now.
Yeah.
If I may add, Heidi and Andy have been on top of it. We're still trying to figure out what that lump sum is.
Yeah.
We don't know, and that's where the disconnect is.
Yeah, but more to come. I will keep this group updated for sure.
Thank you.
And the last thing in my report is the templates. So I had shared with everybody, I think a month ago in my intro, almost a month ago, in my intro email, the link to the templates that are available for download on Google Drive. Moving forward, I strongly encourage, I don't know if I'm allowed to say I'm going to require, but I strongly encourage all the committees to use those templates. It's so much cleaner to go on Airtable and see all the resolutions with our letterhead in similar font families, which are all free. All the font families are free. Same sizes, same typeface. It's just really clean. So if we can do that moving forward, chairs, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yes, I agree. It does look cleaner and stuff when we have our letterhead and everything on it.
That's right. They will change once Kiana is onboarded, which they're already ready to go. So I'll just delete the old ones, upload the new ones. For the obvious reason that then we'll have a district manager. Okay, any questions for me before we move on to our cannabis applicant?
I do have my hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry. This meeting is being transcribed banner blocking your hand.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to point out two things.
Yes.
Regarding the Google Drive, the materials that you circulated for the executive committee via Google Drive. When I tried to open them, my computer would scan them for a virus, and then it would say it can't open. So I don't know what's wrong with that, but I was able to open a couple of them, but it was difficult. So I don't know if it's being sent in a different way, But in the past, the documents have not been sent by Google Drive, and I've often encountered difficulty with Google. So I just want to point that out. The other thing is when we were working on the land use minutes, I think initially we used the minute template, and trying to edit that was a chore because like trying to tighten up on some of the formatting was fighting back. I mean, it was on 5 pages. It didn't need to be 5 pages. So we actually, reverted back to an older format that allowed basically the minutes to be on 2.5 pages. But you might want to take a look at the template to see if there's anything about the formatting that is more complicated than it needs to be.
Okay. I mean, the only thing that may cause that, from my understanding, is the actual letterhead sits in the header and footer and anchors itself onto the page.
That
And
was,
so if-
that wasn't the problem. Although
Does it anchor it onto each page or just
No,
the first page?
that's the first
Okay.
page.
when Ethan tried to convert it from a PDF to Word, the letter had disappeared altogether, but I was able to fix it. I was simply pointing out if we can just check the templates to make sure they're user friendly.
Okay.
I checked everything, I'll double check them.
All right. Yeah. Well, we'll take a look and confirm, Jim.
It sounded like Wayne mentioned that there were some documents that his software where he works refused to open. That could imply, although I doubt it's the case, that there's something malicious within the document. So, and because I remember another situation where someone sent me a group email, and in fact, this was to Columbia, and in the group email, there was actually a malicious link, and Columbia just bounced it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe you could find out from Wayne what he had to.
Yeah.
I doubt it's the problem, but it's, well, what Columbia forces us to do is take these lessons all the time.
Yep.
And one of the things they tell you all the time is anytime you look at something and you go, then worry. So, you know,
Right.
so just, you know.
Yeah, Wayne, I'll follow up offline with you to understand that piece of it a little bit more. All right. Oh, yes.
Where are you sourcing the interns from?
City College. So there are 2 programs there that look for public offices as well as nonprofits to offer internships. Part of the reason it's really beneficial is because they deal with the paying of the interns. They have stipends because they're funded through some special grants that they've received. So obviously that puts the burden off of us to have to find funding for it. So City College, but I'm open to anything and I will take as many interns as we're capable of getting. So if there are other schools we should be looking at or other programs, let me know.
Do we provide any benefits other than some amount of experience and a nice letter saying this person did this thing?
No,
Well, we
Yeah.
don't give credit.
not that I know of.
It's like a DOT, that's what we do with our intern. It's
Oh,
like
yeah?
Credit for the
Usually,
internship.
I'm not sure, I know for the agencies, it works, you go through the department and then you have a conversation with the dean and they'll
Yeah.
work that out.
Well, so for this SJ Levy program that City College offers, they give 1 credit to the intern for the internship, and then they give another credit for some like once a week post intern class that they have to attend to talk about what did they do that
Right.
week.
Right.
So it's like outside our hands. But to your point, perhaps there's a way that we can give credits without it being part of a program.
Yeah.
I'll look into it.
Yeah.
All right.
I have one quick question.
Yes.
Or whenever we receive emails from you, do you have any preference on whether like we pass that along directly to our committee members, or would you want us to like, take out certain pieces of it? Any kind of questions or any kind of preferences on that kind of thing?
I never say anything that I don't think I want
Okay.
anyone else to see.
All right, so
So feel free to
Here's like
forward.
an update.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, we will move on to item 4, cannabis applicant, Times Square Culture Inc. And we have our outgoing chair, Nobles Crawford, here in the room to talk to us about this applicant.
Great, and if you could, can you let Funky, Fami off, if he's probably already.
He's able to
he's
speak.
able to
Yeah.
speak, all right. Fami, your time is up, and let me know if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. Sorry for that if I'm not. So we have an applicant. I was actually out of town last week during our January meeting for work. So excused absence. Where Hector, Carl, Lizette, were present, and that gave us quorum. At the time, Fami wasn't able to join us for the meeting, so we did ask him to come to this one, as is tradition. That's usually how we do it on this task force. I'm not sure if the licensing committee does that, but that will now be Isidro's call to do. So make sure that he has some time in front of the board. And I couldn't think of a better amount of board members here to actually go through some of the questions that our committee had, if he was there. So I'm going to ask him some of these questions. Just to give you a little bit of context, they are opening, the name of the business is Times Square Culture Inc. They're actually opening on the same block that we had reviewed the December's applicant for. But the deal is that Fani and his company received OCM's go-ahead before the other company got in front of us in December. We didn't know that until after the company that we approved in December, if you remember, is in that one-story building near 207th. They let us know that there had been another company that received the technical name for it, but I think it's like Proximity Rights is the name for it. This is that company now.
So does that mean that one gets bumped?
That means that one gets bumped, unfortunately, right? And that's what it is, but here we are. And so Fami's company, again, named Times Square Culture Inc. It's interesting because he's like, this is the first applicant that is not a C applicant. If y'all remember, just again, for some context, C applicants are from the area from an area that were disproportionately affected by the war on drugs, or they were personally affected by the war on drugs. That's how that's how the legislatures wrote the legislation. So this is our first one that is not a C applicant. And so we do have different, again, I'm reading the committee's questions as well as my own, because I wasn't able to be there. But this is the first applicant of that. So there are somewhat different questions that had come up, considering this is a full-on LLC and not someone from the neighborhood. So with that, unless there's any questions to the context, I would like to ask Fami some questions.
So this one was previously approved, so it bumps the other
OCM.
one.
Yeah.
So if it's previously approved, what is it that we're approving?
So technically, and this is also something that CJ will take on, technically, we do not approve a cannabis company into existence. Only OCM can do that. What we do is we say, like, look, we're community partners with you. Should there be any question, or you get some issues with the community, or we want your help in educating the community, it's better to go through the community board, but we are not officially approving any licenses.
So OCM approves the license.
That's right.
The board renders a non-binding opinion on the location.
That's correct.
Got it.
Yep.
I have a question about
What's
the
up?
applicant. So say we review this, we pass as a resolution committee at the board. The other company we voted for, it's officially that they cannot have a
They
location.
have to find a new location.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they have to come back to the board and do the whole?
Yeah.
They
process?
would have to come back to the board and do it, right? Because having a lease,
People Off the block.
these are the people, in the middle of the block. These are if you want to look it up in your Google Maps, the address is 4930 Broadway.
Yeah, on the
It's
corner.
on the corner, right? It's on the corner of that block. We had approved the one that was in the middle.
The corner of 204 or 207?
207. Yep. So even further away from the Dykeman House. So with that, there was one more thing I also want to say. Oh, I won't be here next week because next week is family vacation with my folks. So Hector, I'm going to be asking if he's going to be here. We'll be able to take the board through this, which he also did for the committee.
Yeah, and he's online, so he's listening.
Well, Hector, thank you for joining. And if you have anything you want to speak up to or add context to, please do so now if you'd like, before I get into the questions.
I've given him the ability to speak if he wanted to unmute himself.
There you go.
He is by no means obliged.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, yep, we could hear you.
Hello, how's it going, executive committee? Thank you all. Nobles, absolutely, I'll be here next week and I'll be able to provide commentary on the proposed establishment. I have no further questions for the committee. Thank you all. Thank you, Nobles.
Great, thank you, Hector. And
Thank
it's been a pleasure working with you these last 3 years.
The pleasure is all mine, Nobles.
All right. So, Fami, can you hear us correctly? And am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yes, correct.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for coming to this executive meeting. Really appreciate you listening to the communication of our office. This is something that we honestly require in terms of getting to be seen by the general meeting. Like, that is a requirement of our committee, is that we do need to have some type of representation in the room from the business. And I'm telling this to the crew here, like the executive committee here, because again, this is going to be this can be taken into the licensing committee. So just re-emphasizing some of the things so people remember. But we do want them to be here because when we go through their application in person, we like to ask questions that might not be on the application from some of the answers they've given on the application. So thank you for coming to the executive committee. I'll probably ask you first, since you are our first non-C applicant for our neighborhood, and this is something that, you know, when we started building this process, we wanted to make sure that we didn't get a deluge of corporations that came in over C applicants. But since you're the first one, totally cool. Especially considering we are trying to get more cannabis dispensaries in our neighborhood. Right now, we really only have 3. But for yours, we wanted to know why you chose Washington Heights. Well, actually Inwood for here, but we'll say Inwood, Washington Heights as a location for this business. And do you have any other private cannabis dispensaries in the city?
So that's my only one license.
Go ahead, Fami.
Yalla.
Yep, we can hear
I
you.
just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Fami's representative here. I'm his attorney. I'm Teddy Anastasio. Represent Fami, and I represent roughly 1/3 of all the cannabis dispensaries here in New York, including New York City. Fami's a long-standing client of mine, and I'm just gonna be kind of weighing in with Fami because I wanted him here. I usually take board meetings directly.
That's great.
But I know that Fami wanted to be here, so I mentioned that, you know, we'd rather be there in person. But
Yep.
Fami's been talking about opening up the dispensary for a long time in Washington Heights. So I'll let him speak, and then if I can layer anything in terms of any of the regulations or the work that we've been doing to get the business up and running, I'm more than happy to do so.
Well, thank you for coming, Ted.
Thank you.
So I guess back to you, Fami. Why Washington Heights Inwood?
Yeah, because I have another business in the city, so it was close to run it, and it's so convenient to get there.
That makes sense. Any questions on top of that one for Fami before I move to our next one?
Well, I think there was a second part to your question about whether he owns other cannabis dispensaries. He said he owns other
did. He
businesses.
said he didn't.
Oh, he doesn't know
when
how
he
to-
first started before
I
he
see.
spoke.
He was referring
But
to
he has
that.
other businesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Yep.
the application says that he does it.
No other cannabis businesses. That's why we wanted to just get some.
Well, it says,
clarification.
does the owner operator have other businesses?
Oh,
Within Washington.
Within
Right,
Washington
but that's a
Heights.
Oh, yeah, that is
Yeah.
a separate question.
Yeah. So do you have any other businesses within Washington Heights? A lot of our dispensary owners that we've seen own like pharmacies in the area, but do you have any other business in our area?
No.
Okay.
And what about throughout the 5 boroughs?
Yes, I
He
do.
said
Can you give us a little bit of color as to what kinds of businesses you own and where?
Yeah, coffee shops in the city.
I'm sorry, did you say coffee shops as in duplication or coffee shops as in the hot beverage?
Yeah, hot beverage coffee shop.
Thank you.
Nice. All right, so
So
I'll move
Fami
on to
also
the next
has
one.
a deli downtown. We're close to Midtown as well, so he's familiar with the. I mean, frankly, because given it's a retail store, a lot of his other businesses deal directly with consumers on a retail level. Mostly QSR, like you mentioned before, coffee shops, which he has 3. He has different partnerships as well. This will be his first foray into the cannabis dispensary business, which is, you know, not uncommon right now, where most licensees have one business, and I think the intent behind the legalization was to have as many small mom and pop operators as possible, and to prevent consolidation, which I believe you mentioned earlier in the meeting.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. This path kind of is a mirror of Sparkborough's path. If you know Sparkborough, we approved them last year. Actually the year before last, where they're over here on 175th and they own multiple pharmacies. 177. Thank you, Jim. They own multiple pharmacies, and this was the first foray into cannabis too. So this is a model that we've seen before. Makes total sense.
And we're trying to actively to work with the governor's office and other folks to prevent consolidation because we find it frankly, and again, I represent a healthy amount of 71 different dispensaries across New York State, and the biggest concern that most of my clients have at this point is the fact that folks are kind of rolling up licenses and merging different operations, and then they're allowed to have better buying power, and then they can compete on price with smaller mom and pop operators. Which we found to be quite a concern, and especially Fami's not from the neighborhood, but like other folks that are from the neighborhood are trying to start their first business venture. They're getting squeezed out by folks that are joining forces or kind of rolling up licenses by buying licenses, and that's an issue. But Fami is independent in the sense that he's putting a lot of time and effort into try to open up this storefront in Washington Heights.
That's exactly why we asked this question. Liz.
Thank you.
So to be clear, he's trying to open up a storefront in Inwood, not Washington Heights. And why weed? Why not another deli or another coffee shop?
Good question.
Were you able to hear that question? It was a bit quiet.
I'm happy to and Fami can elaborate a little more directly, but I think his real estate team was looking for locations, and I think this has it was good traffic. I think it was a good location, and frankly, the landlord was willing to work with him on rent. And unfortunately, when you find a compliant location that meets all the distance requirements, not being 1,000 foot away from another legal dispensary, not by a house of worship within 200 feet, not by a school, and the school distance standard changed with the Office of Cannabis Management twice, which caused a lot of heartache and agitated a lot of folks. A lot of the landlords really increased rent way above asking, so they could be marketing the property on Crexi elsewhere for like $10,000, $12,000 a month, $8,000 a month, and then we say the permitted use here that we're like is cannabis, they jump at $4,000 or $5,000. So frankly, it's a place of economics. Now it's a good location, and Fami has run retail stores before for coffee shops, and then he's partnered in deli shops. But I think the overriding consideration, like for a lot of businesses, was the fact that the rent worked for the use that he wanted.
That makes sense. We've heard that before as well.
Yeah.
Cheaper up here, huh?
Yeah, I mean it is. So actually, since you brought up the lease, this was my second question. During the committee meeting, you had presented a letter of intent from the landlord. Have you signed your lease yet?
Yes, correct.
You have signed it. Did you send it into the office by any chance? Because they'll definitely need that before the general meeting.
No
I
problem.
think Fami, I think you sent it in, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Let's stipulate it just to be safe, because I don't think that
Is
the
that-
last Paola checked, we
Yeah,
didn't.
okay. Yeah, if you could just resend it just in case, because I didn't get a confirmation of that. But as long as you do it before next Tuesday, we're good to go.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so moving on. So for question 18 in our pamphlet or packet, which I'm sure y'all have in front of you. One thing that's obviously very important to us, especially considering that you don't live in our neighborhood, is will you be hiring from our neighborhood? This would not only be the folks working there, but specifically security. The reason why we asked this question, and not to micromanage your business, this is just a simple question, is because Washington Heights Inwood is a special place with special culture and a certain way of going about communication with each other versus midtown or downtown, right where most of the dispensaries are. So that's why we ask, like, are you going to be sourcing your security and or your employees from this large neighborhood of about 450,000 people?
Yes, absolutely. We can hire from the neighborhood.
And how are you going to be working with, I guess, posting signs and doing it yourself, or you're working with a hiring agency?
We're gonna have flyer, and we're gonna post flyer around the storefront, and we're gonna start from there.
Awesome.
What we can do with the community board, if that's something the board is willing to partner with Fami on, is if it's possible that I know you have a lot of strong relationships and partnerships with different job employment organizations.
Absolutely.
In terms for bud tenders, for security, and there won't be any kind of armed guards on site. For runners that are going to be inside, for even some for he's not doing any delivery, but if and when he does want to do delivery, that's also a possibility. But for I think each dispensary has 8 to 12 employees. So if there's something that can be like a more targeted outreach to folks that need jobs that are from the community, I think that'd be helpful. Especially those that are, just that I think the board or the partner organizations that you have for nonprofits identified would be a good fit. I think that'd be
Yep.
helpful.
Yeah, we can probably assist that. You probably ask the chair that, but I'm sure that we could assist. We do, to your point, have a lot of partnerships with like the BID and other like business organizations. And we also know that there's people in this neighborhood that know the product too. So that would be great to have, folks on staff from here that understand also like the type of product. It could be me. But I have a job. I'm good.
If they reach out to the office, they could get Workforce One's contact information.
Workforce
Okay.
One.
I'll help them with that.
Awesome. Did you get that, Dad? Nice. Thank you, Leo. Okay, so moving on to question 25. So you stated that you stated that you would not be augmenting the front facade of the premises. However, the floor plan indicates 2 doors and ingress and egress, while Google Maps only shows 1 door. I took a look at that. How is that working?
In terms of the front, there's 2 front doors in the layout versus 1 door on the actual storefront.
Well, so like there's a front door, like obviously for Google Maps, but is there a back door to this building? Like to the unit?
I think there's going to be a created back door for the unit because I think they're going to separate the showroom from what the showroom is going to be. The unit's going to be kind of split in 2 from the showroom and then the back of the house for the vault and for the inventory because the front of the house.
Okay, so
is going to be-
they're splitting the room, not adding an exit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because the landlord that's something that he'll push on the tenant for improvement and
Okay.
that'll take a considerable amount of money. I think.
Just to clarify, the question, what I heard you state is, in the application, in response to the question, will there be any modifications, to the front? It says no, with the exception of signage. However, in Exhibit C, the floor plan, it shows 2 entry doors. So we're not talking about a back door. From the street, it shows 2 doors, but Google Maps shows in reality, there's only 1 door. So is the front facade of the storefront being changed to add 2 doors as opposed to the existing 1 door?
No,
Correct.
it's 1 door and then
So the floor plan in Exhibit C is incorrect. It should only show
We
1.
we're gonna change the storefront.
Okay, so you are going to change the storefront.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so the question is, are you changing the storefront? And the answer
Yes.
was no. But looking at this and given what you're saying, it sounds like the answer is yes. So we would love some clarity on which of those 2 things it is.
so I'm not a licensed architect or like a cannabis dispensary operator. So I don't have an understanding of terms of what the storefront and Fahmi, did you meant like you're going to change the outside of the door?
Yes.
Or like, okay, so like
It's
you're gonna
going
add
to
door?
it's going to be 2 doors.
It's going to be 2 doors. Okay, so the storefront, I guess the entrance of the building is going to be 2 doors then.
No, it's going to be entrance from the middle of the storefront. So it's 2 doors together.
So then would that require, I mean, and this is more of a question for your landlord, to be quite honest, because I'm not sure if buildings in that area are allowed to do structural changes like that. Will it take a structural change to do those 2 doors? Or is...
A storefront would not be a structural change. The storefront, storefronts are changed all the time. They may need to file it with DOB. That's not an issue. It's just for, as Liz said, the clarity. Based on Exhibit C, the floor plan, there is a modification. Nothing wrong with that. So there'll be, 2 doors coming in from the street as opposed to 1 door.
Got it. So the place that you're at, it's currently Geisha it's the Geisha restaurant, correct?
No, it's the one around the corner.
Oh, it's the deli
It's
next
a
to
deli,
it.
Yeah.
The
It's
one
the
next to
deli
the one next to the deli.
It used to be a jeweler.
Correct.
Got it. I mean, I'm looking at it right now and it's, they would be able to do that because,
Yeah,
as a jeweler, yeah, that they have a space that would be able to, it's not like a part of like a brick residential building or anything. It's,
Usually with modifications like that, the landlord allows it because all they're doing is removing the.
right.
facade.
It's already not structurally, yeah,
That's the whole point. It's
dependent.
not structural.
Yeah, it's not structural. That's like the biggest thing. That's the reason why we're asking these follow-up questions, because we just want to make sure it wasn't structural. But clearly it's not according to Google Maps. So that answers my question there.
I have a follow-up question.
Please.
Meredith.
Yeah.
Hello, I just wanted to confirm that the facility will be wheelchair accessible and that the going from one door to two wouldn't impact that.
Oh, yeah, I advise all my clients that they have to be ADA compliant 100% because that's the first thing a lot of plaintiff lawyers will do. And we've had lawsuits on websites alone where they weren't ADA compliant in terms of visibly impaired. So, you don't want to make yourself a target for the plaintiff bar. And that's one reason, that's an economic reason, but two, just you don't want to prohibit customers that are disabled from actually visiting your store either. So that's another issue too. So it's one, and then you want to be inclusive as much as possible. So, but like by following the law, so you want to follow the law, you want to gain customers, you also be sued. So that's every reason why it's going to be ADA accessible.
Well, thank you for asking that. Both of our currently functioning dispensaries are very ADA compatible, Spark Boreal and also Happy Monkey.
Yeah.
And that's something I look for, but neglected to ask. So thank you again for asking that.
We should definitely require it.
I mean, it is kind of a state
required.
requirement, like a
Probably
city.
state requirement.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised though, because
Yeah.
there's even new businesses that I go into and maybe like the entrance will be wheelchair accessible, but the rest
That's the
won't.
story, yeah.
Or like they
Yeah.
start putting boxes and I can't get down like a grocery aisle.
Yeah. I mean, it seems here that it's just on one level, thankfully, and there's no bathrooms here. I don't think any of the dispensaries bathroom is just not something that would go with it. It's not like lounge or anything. But definitely for the employees. Yeah. But it's good. I mean, that lip is
The
tough
bathroom for
on.
employees should also be ADA
gosh.
accessible. but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, so definitely keep that in mind. Please keep that in mind as you make the changes to the double doors. Just make sure it's ADA compatible. And also too, on the floor plan, I saw you had a bar between the two middle doors. Just please make sure, I'm not sure if there's a standard width for wheelchairs, but just make sure that
Yeah, there's.
both doors meet the width of a wheelchair, please. That's
Yes,
important.
absolutely.
Thank you, Fami. Next question. So regarding your occupancy, does the stated maximum of 20 persons include employees? Because I remember, Ted, you were saying it's about 8 to 12 employees. Is 20 everyone in the building, including customers, or is that customers only? The occupancy of
My
20.
understanding that's generally the amount of customers you'll have in the store at any given time.
Okay, cool. And the square footage, what's the square footage of your sales area? It's looking like 26 by 12. So that's 12. That's like right there. Yeah, I mean, that could hold it. Yeah. Just wanted to make sure that the ratio of the space held that amount of people. But God willing, your business is that busy to have 20 people in there at the same time. But I could see it fitting that with the space
If
that you
there's
have.
20 people there at the same time, I think Fami's gonna be very, very happy.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's definitely adequate for the space I'm seeing on your floor plan, which is good, which is why we always requested the floor plan.
Just in the interest of time.
Actually, that was my last question.
Wonderful.
Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
When are these slated to open?
Thank you for asking. I think that's in here, but when you just, for the record, if you will, just state when you wanted to open this dispensary.
Tommy, do you have a timeline in terms of like your opening? I know you have some vendors and you have to get through virtual inspection from the OCM, which takes about 6 weeks to schedule, not even to go through. That's so for one, I guess the sales commencement date.
Maybe in the next 2 months, we just waited for the recommendation letter to be sent to the OCM, so we could move forward to the next step.
For
Great.
construction.
So let's say like maybe early summer, late spring. Then is probably your target.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, I have one more question and then I think we're good to wrap.
So this is a comment, and if it's inappropriate, I will take it back.
Okay.
But some of their competitors actually have a senior citizen discount.
Ah,
And I wanted to inform them
Every time.
of that.
What age did I start at?
not 20.
Starts at 21.
So Jim Berlin is not only the client of this task force, he's basically the president. And he just asked you to note that like the dispensaries we have approved have given a senior discount. This is not to tell you to run your business, but you might get more customers, including my friend Jim Berlin.
Yep, something to consider for sure.
Yes.
Tommy,
So-
screenshot that face and just put it behind the register to make sure it gets taken
No,
care of.
absolutely. We're gonna give away a discount for seniors.
There you go.
Alright.
Excellent, excellent.
Define senior.
Yeah.
Let's not go there. No, don't put that on the record. So we go to vote?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
I'm serious. Are we talking 60 or are we talking 65?
You'll find that. If
63-year-olds want to know.
I got you covered.
All right.
All right.
So now we'll vote with this executive committee if your application will move on to the general board, who will then vote there. And then from there, you have the community board's blessing should you pass. All right. So you want to do roll call? How does that work?
She'll do it.
Ah, nice.
Oh,
Thanks, Liz, as our assistant secretary of the night.
Ah,
Do you want legal?
Yeah, I
no,
can
what
give-
I want is another one of these.
Okay.
Are we gonna be voting on anything else?
good question.
We do not need to do a roll.
Recognize Tanisha's birthday.
Oh,
Okay, I'm just gonna do it this way. Anthony, nope, you vote last. Leo,
I'm gonna abstain.
Tanisha,
I think I abstained too.
I'm gonna vote yes. Heidi,
Yes.
Radia,
Yes.
and did I pronounce your name correctly?
Radia.
Radia,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Radia, Indiana,
Yes.
Wayne,
you gotta leave.
oh. What is this?
Excused,
Okay,
not exempt, but excused.
got it. So I'm just gonna put excused. Jim
Jim doesn't vote.
doesn't
No,
vote.
no, wait a second. Don't vote
He
as a
vote-
member of this committee, but then we poll the
Oh,
board.
in that
members,
case,
and I
hold
get
on
to
a
vote as a board member.
Okay, Mary,
Yes.
Oh, hey, Mary.
Anthony,
Yes, and Nobles gets a vote for this.
Nobles,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes,
Thanks for the clarification, Jim.
oh, absolutely. Gotta keep your youngins in line.
okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in favor, 2 abstaining, motion carries.
Sweet. So your motion carried and will be going to the general board meeting, Fami. The general board meeting is at 6:30 next Tuesday, the 27th. What's the address again? 16.
The hammer.
Hammer,
Yeah, it's the Hammer sign? It's Hammer
yeah,
sign?
it just
Hammer. It's the Hammer
The
building.
Health Sciences Building,
Yeah,
on the northwest corner of 168th Street and Fort Washington Avenue. It will be on the 3rd floor.
701 West 168.
701 West 168th Street, my man, thank you. So next Tuesday, the 27th at 6:30, if you could be there, that would be awesome, because if there's any other questions the general board has, then they'll ask you there. But I appreciate you being so robust in your application and also coming here, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Like George Costanza, I'm out.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for your time.
Hey.
Babe, you feel better?
Hey.
Thank you.
I might do like a video, thanks guys, and send it to you, like a little 30 seconds out there.
Get some more for us.
Great.
Okay, then bring it back.
Get
Yes.
some fun for us.
All right, we will proceed to the next agenda item, item number 5, Secretary's report. Since our secretary is not here, I am taking over this sub-item A, so
We're gonna
we
need to
are,
vote.
I will be presenting to the general board meeting the removal of a board member for substantial non-attendance, which is how it's worded in our bylaws. The board member's name is,
Ah,
I know, we went over it because it's attendance, we're allowed to talk about it, right, Jim?
okay.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, do we?
Yes.
We don't have to go into executive session,
No.
which is why I went, and
Thank you.
Jim said,
No, the rationale is attendance is a public matter.
Yes.
Okay.
If
that's fine.
they committed a crime, different story. That's not the case. The board member's name is Andrea Antriago.
Who?
Exactly. The board member was appointed in the last cycle and they have not attended a single meeting.
Spell the name, please.
Andrea is Andrea, last name Antriago, Intriago.
They were appointed when?
With the last cohort, I think that was May
Yeah.
2025. So they well exceeded the definition of substantial non-attendance.
And they've attended zero meetings of
Zero.
any kind.
Correct, even on Zoom.
Does she know that she was?
So it is part of the bylaws that we attempt to contact. There's a specific process. I followed that process. So on January 2nd, I tried to just do a gentle, I called, I left a voicemail, I sent a nice notice. Hey, no one's heard from you. Nothing. There were variations of her email that we attempted, see if that was the problem. On January 5th, then I sent the formal notice, which is a letter signed by me explaining the reason why I will be recommending to the full board later this month, next week, for removal. And let her know that she, according to the bylaws, can come. She can make her case if she'd like to. She'll have an opportunity to do that. I'm not sure what that case would be, but it doesn't seem she's interested. The borough president's office is aware. I believe they contacted her emergency contact to make sure, no response. So it just seems to me, I can't, this is my own personal supposition that there's just no interest in serving on the board. In which case we will remove and we will allow the borough president or the council members to make a recommendation for someone else.
Okay.
Any questions? Yes, Jim.
We don't vote
vote.
here.
No.
Okay.
In the letter, and if it's not there, it should be there. And again, I assume basically she's just not responsive, right?
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
But the letter should, and again, or it may, give her the opportunity to resign on her own
Yeah.
effort. It does,
Yep. Well, and even I left her a voicemail stating that.
right?
Um,
Because
yeah.
most people would find that cleaner.
Yeah, we just have not received
Okay,
any
well,
type
you
of
didn't say that.
response.
Yeah, okay.
Wow.
Any other questions about the particular member?
Nope.
Okay, great. So that concludes that segment of the agenda.
I
Yeah.
have one question
Okay.
related to our previous agenda item.
Okay,
And that is, why was that agenda item going before the executive? Did they not have quorum at the last meeting?
it was twofold. So
The guy wasn't there. Like
he didn't come because of a clerical error from our office. They gave him the wrong link.
Got it.
So they ended up on the Youth and Education Zoom link somehow.
Got it.
Just sitting
Okay,
there.
that's fine.
And your meeting's not that night, but they got that link somehow through the office. But the other reason is that actually the task force only hit quorum, and I only learned about this after the fact because I was there. Because I serve as an ex officio member
Right.
of one of our committees. But I didn't know that at the time. So at the time, and from my perspective, the task force also did not hit quorum. Because
Got
it
it.
did not have enough members in person.
Okay, but they weren't at the meeting.
They
so
weren't at the
that's
meeting
fine.
anyway. To no fault of their own.
Got it. Without prejudice. Okay, that's. Yeah,
I know.
yes.
I know. I agree.
Let's make sure to everyone, so we're all aware of it. If you're an ex officio member, you get to participate, but you don't get to
Yeah.
vote. This is true of the council people on our board as well.
But apparently I count, according to bylaws, I count towards quorum for the committee.
You may, but.
Oh,
but
Then
you
I don't
get to
vote. Yeah, that's
Right.
fine. I don't need a
And
vote.
again, like I said, council members are ex officio members of the community board, and they have the same right to speak as we do. Anytime we speak, they can,
Interesting.
right?
Thank you. All right.
I may found to.
You clearly. All right, we will move on to agenda item 6, approval of governance documents. So in the Google Drive, I know some have had difficulty with it, but there were 3 documents in there. The officer procedure, there was only one that was updated since the board had voted on it in,
Mhm.
I want to say it was November. Made some edits pursuant to, actually Steve had just walked in, he provided some feedback. That feedback was included. It's nothing substantial, just sort of a lot of grammar changes and, confirming things. Then there were 2 new things in there. The chair and vice chair guide, it's relatively new in that Kathy was the initial drafter of it. I then went in and did a lot of revisioning. And then I put it into our format and put it up in the Google Drive for review.
Okay.
And then there's the member attendance policy, which is a policy that basically takes what the requirements are of the bylaws and puts them into a document all in one place. Before, I think there were a number of places where members were trying to combine and understand what their expectations were around attendance. Now we have one document that contains all that information.
No sense of adventure, Anthony.
No, no. I limit the adventure here
Mhm.
when it comes to process, at least. Any questions about these 3 documents?
I actually have a question.
Sure.
Well, remind me, what is the definition of late?
Yeah, so, thank you. I'm glad you brought that up because there is currently not a definition of late. Now, there is in our bylaws a sentence to the effect of you must attend a quote substantial portion of the meeting, end quote. This came up, and Jim can attest to it, in the bylaws task force. I was an advocate of trying to define what that meant. And the task force ultimately came out and said, let's just leave it as is. And let us figure out in procedures what the board, or at least starting with this committee and the board, believes substantial attendance to mean. So thank you for bringing it up. Let's talk about it. Anyone have any thoughts of how we should be defining substantial attendance to a meeting?
I kind of struggle with this because it's possible, say, for a 2.5-hour meeting to come an hour and 10 minutes late. You've obviously missed everything that happened before you got there, but participate in a meaningful and substantive way on the things that happened while you were in the room. And that feels like meaningful attendance, particularly with something like our general meetings, where we have a lot going on, and it's ideal to be present for the whole thing. But if you wanna, if you're an hour and 15 minutes late for a meeting, and the committee chairs are making their presentations on the resolutions, and that doesn't happen until 90 minutes into the meeting, I feel like your vote, you probably missed the public session, but you can be like, hey, Leah, catch me up. Was there anybody who testified? And give me the executive summary of what that was. And that feels like substantially attending, even though you're significantly late. So even though I think I would prefer a quantitative definition of late,
That's right.
I do feel like there's something to be said for a qualitative definition of late, and that saying substantive feels okay in a way that's saying, like, if you're 90 minutes late, it doesn't count, but if you're 60 minutes late, it does. You know what I mean?
I agree with Liz. I think we should put a quantity. At least
I'm saying I'm not so, I usually like a quantitative, but in this case, I'm feeling like it depends on the meeting.
Oh, yeah, committee meetings usually run shorter than general board meeting.
I mean, not to put Steve on the spot, but he was an hour and 10 minutes late. is he here or is he not here? I think he's here.
I'll do Heidi, then Jim, then Indiana.
I'm in favor of a quantitative measure of lateness because I just think it's clearer, and for rule purposes, but I think that, to the extent there are arguments for somebody who is chronically late to make about the meaningfulness, the
Mhm.
meaning of their participation. I think that that is an argument that they should be making if they're late to the point where we need to possibly strike them from the board and they need to go before the board and, basically plead their case to not be kicked off, right? I just think it gets a little bit complicated. But I hear, I hear your point, and I agree with you, but yeah.
Not the hill I'm gonna die on. I'm willing to be convinced, you know?
Jim.
Mhm.
I have a whole bunch of points. To begin with, we have to have a method of evaluating the person. So if we have a timing method, people might have to sign out. Again, there has to be a mechanism. And if the mechanism is too cumbersome or whatever, then we're gonna have a lot that causes difficulty. That would also be true, I would think, of the qualitative standard that Liz is talking. We're gonna have the judge of quality, the electron. So, and obviously, a time standard would be simpler, but again, essentially we need, as the scientists say, an operational definition. The other thing is, as I understand it, if you're at the meeting, even if you just showed up when the vote is taking place, you get to vote.
Yep.
Okay. But again, and then the addition, well, two other things. The additional issue is that in the past, we've had people, and I'm not talking about Steve, I think it's in his genes or something, but when he's here, he's a full participant and he always is informed. And so he would fit,
Mhm.
Liz's qualitative standard. But there were people in the past, and the past certainly goes on for decades, who totally abused the system. They show up and we even had a method. So you see that there are methods where we would take attendance in the middle of the meeting too. If you weren't there both, at the beginning of the meeting, in the middle of the meeting, then we were after. But they would, the reason we had to do that is they would sign in, disappear until the vote was taken, and then magically reappear. And that's almost cynically abusive, and we don't want that. And the third thing, which I think Heidi alluded to, was the fact that we may or may not want to have different standards for committee meetings.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then we should think about what they are. And again, this is just a general comment, and other boards, I think, don't quite function as we do, and I think we should be very proud of what we do. We, for example, let members of the public vote on things, even though it doesn't affect anything. Most community boards don't. Many community boards, we pretty much, on most committees, let them just participate like everyone else, although we let the board members talk first. A lot of community boards don't do that either. It's open, their committee meetings are, they may have a public session and then you sit down, shut up and watch. So again, what we do, I think, is, and actually this semester, I take a course every semester. This one's on democracy and technology. Fine, but so I will be even more informed as we go along. And the fact that we are here and there is an electronic component to some degree, may not affect each other. But the fact that we are face to face, this is sort of how, we are representatives. Keep that in mind. Appointed representatives don't represent our community. But the fact that we're face to face makes this in many ways a superior way of dealing with one another. So I think, as this professor talked today, I was like, yeah, we do that, so we just, I'm a great believer in And insofar as we can increase our outreach, that will make us even more magnificent.
I agree. Indiana than me.
Thank you. I am less inclined to add a specific time. But I do have two ideas that are maybe middle ground. One would be not to count it from like start time to X window, and then after that you're late, but have it be like, for example, for a committee meeting, if it runs an hour, like you had to be there for, let's say, 65% of it or 75, whatever we choose, and then that covers who arrives late or who needs to leave early, or if for whatever reason you get a phone call mid-meeting and you had to step out, something like that. The solution.
That. I love
that. I earned my pizza tonight. The other, I think, idea is it may make, or it may be easier to do that kind of tracking for our committee meetings over the general board meetings. If we were really gonna be strict about the board meetings and we're gonna take that approach, then we would need people to sign in and out. And that it's a lot of people, right, to sign in and out, folks starter in. So it may be less practical to take that approach for a general board meeting.
So I like that. And part of the reason I like that is because when I initially was thinking about this, we have to ground whatever's in the policy and what is in the bylaws unless we amend the bylaws. And so what you're describing sounds like something that we can make a rule from through the policy because it attaches back to that phrase substantial portion. So I like the idea of a percentage because ultimately then what we're defining is what is a substantial portion. It's either 60 or 70%. And I think that that's where I would imagine this conversation would go unless we're otherwise open to revising the bylaws, which can occur as well.
Something, so
Okay.
I wanna say something.
All right, so I have Liz.
No, Tanisha should go because she hasn't spoken to this,
All
so
right,
she
so
should
Tanisha,
speak
Liz,
first before I
Leo.
speak second.
Thanks, I appreciate that, Liz. My only thing about that is quorum. I like to pass resolutions and Youth and Education Committee is going to be passing a lot of resolutions. And if I don't have quorum, then I have to bring them here. And then we have to do all this other stuff. So while I agree that we should give people leeway when it's time, and we always know that resolutions is at the end of the agenda, like I need my members, I need to make quorum. That's my only issue.
So. To that point. You actually don't have to wait till the end of the committee meeting to vote on each resolution, like. At the general, we have all the talking and then kind of the last thing we do is we vote on all the resolutions. But as a committee, there are plenty of committees that have. One item that's reso item and it happens earlier in the meeting and there's like some introductory whatever, and then there's that reso item and there's discussion and that reso was voted on, and then there's the next 3 items. Some of which may or may not be reso items. So yes, you need quorum to vote on it, but if somebody is a little bit late and there's a little bit of a presentation, but then they show up and they bring a quorum with them, and then voting happens and then somebody has to leave and you lose quorum, you still voted on your reso.
I want to second that. There's no requirement to do all the voting at the end of the meeting.
Right,
Right, absolutely.
think I said that, but
He
thank
said
you for the,
he said he was seconding it.
cool.
Yeah.
Wasn't aware it needed a second, but okay.
Third,
The other thing is that it's highly impractical, as Indiana points out, to have like a sign out in the middle of a meeting if someone needs to leave early, although frequently there's a little bit of a nod and a wave, so the secretary will note that, so they don't call the person's name during roll call, or they might say, Indiana had to leave early, so we're not gonna call her name. But we do have a timed sign in for all of the meetings, so we know when people are coming. And we have the roll call when we're voting at the general as being a form of attendance. So the idea of having like a straight quantitative definition of how many minutes late to a general meeting constitutes late, or we could say, if you haven't arrived by because we tend to have a pretty static agenda. If you haven't arrived by the beginning of the public session, you're late. Because like, we're responsible for hearing the public, and that's important. And then to go with something like a percentage, whether it's 65, 75, 70% of the minutes of length of a committee meeting, that feels like a really good balance.
Leo and then Heidi.
So, and I do like Indiana's idea. My only concern, specifically when it comes to committee, is as the chair, running the meeting, taking notes for myself, because I have somebody to take the minutes, and I'm also supposed to account the time you came in, so I'm supposed to note that and then it's a lot of work to really stay on top of that. So that's where my issues have at the committee meeting. General board meeting, I agree with it is. It's harder to say, listen, let's count 65% of the time that you've been here. Specifically, we don't have quorum at the beginning, right? We can say the general board meeting starts at 6:30, but if we reach quorum at 6:55, what are you considering the 65%? Goes to at 6:30 or when quorum, that's when we actually.
Yeah, it is,
initiated them.
it is a little ironic if the percentage of minutes is counted by when you got quorum, and the reason why you didn't have quorum is because you were late.
Kind of throws something to think about, but that's where I would have some, but I do like.
That's not wrong.
Heidi.
Yeah, so I think the percentage idea is good. And I think I had a question, which was to what extent are members required to notify of lateness, right? So I'm required to notify if I'm going to be absent, but like as a courtesy, for example, I was running late to land use this month and I sent an email to Wayne and I CC'd Noemi and I was like, hey, I'm running like 20 minutes late at the work thing. I'm on my way, right? But is like, are people doing that?
Yeah.
Right,
You may be
okay.
one of those very few.
Okay.
Honestly.
You know, I mean, I don't know that we can require that, but trying to help institute norms, because that would just help in figuring some of this stuff out, right? Even if we don't change bylaws or anything, I don't know if that's even, I don't even know that I agree with that as an idea, but I think increasing some of these norms might help. And then in terms of percentage of the general meeting, you know, I think, I don't know how you would do that, but obviously our sign-in sheet has the time, and then we can maybe think about in the minutes, like what time did the vote happen? And maybe that's how we can calculate, okay, this person got here at 6:30 and the vote happened at 7:40, that's an hour and 10 minutes out of, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's one way to think about calculating percentages that isn't an extra step aside from.
Don't the minutes and point of information, don't the minutes or
Yeah.
meeting notes include the time? I mean, like, I'm writing down the times that we start each discussion item. Is that not the norm?
It hasn't been.
I think that we write the time it starts.
No,
Yeah.
summaries of each of
I
the
think you should
underneath each of the
order
agenda
them.
items. And then
Done.
adjournment.
But we do
Yeah.
have a call to order time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
But that could just be like, okay, we're starting the vote at 7:40 and just, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Jim?
huh,
So,
I don't know.
I
I like that actually. So,
now that we're all paying attention, I came up with a solution to this signing out business. And of course, we would explain this to the board members, but yes, my idea has teeth. Okay? Because some people would think they'll forget to sign out and just disappear. If you don't sign out, we assume you left right after you signed in and you don't get credit for the meeting. Seriously, you have to sign out.
Oh,
And then
wow.
if you do sign out, what?
No, I like it.
Yeah, and a job you have to go. In the old days, teachers actually had to punch in and punch out like factory workers.
We remember, Jen. We're not that here.
Some of them may not. This birthday girl. So, you know, and, you know, if they sign out, then we can do this percentage thing, because we'll have the numbers.
I want to take a quick poll. Let's assume we have to assign a percentage to the word substantial portion. Raise your hand if you'd go with 60%. 65%,
Probably this.
I'm like, can I?
70%. Okay, I see more hands for 65%.
We got 51%.
Anyone?
It's not.
I just don't wanna give our members like the wrong impression that they can show up whenever they want.
Yeah.
Like it has to be a line where like if we, for me, I went through a lot to be a community board member. So I don't understand why people spend that effort if they don't wanna do it, you know? So for me, it's a balance of giving people grace because we all work and got 1,000 kids or grandkids or whatever,
Take the
you know,
train.
lawyers, clients, all kinds of stuff, you know. For me, it has to be a balance of keep giving people grace while holding people accountable.
Yeah.
Because as chairs, we still need to be able to run effective meetings. And I got stuff to do. I got a whole charter school fight this year. So, you know, I feel like we don't want to give people too much leeway. So while I think it's important to give people, I would say even like a half an hour, you know, grace time. Because I mean, if the rest of us listen, I'm legally disabled. I'm here. Mary is here. Indiana is here. We're here. So with all our issues, we're here and we're doing the work that we signed up to do. So why can't we demand that everybody else does?
You're here.
I think it has to be a balance.
Yeah.
You know?
Mary's hand is up and she has an opportunity. Mary, go ahead.
I agree with Tanisha. I like that idea. A half hour late. It gives you, you know, a little bit of leeway if you're running late for some reason or other. And if you're going to be later than that, then you need to shoot an email to the chair or to whoever. You know, maybe the train died or the traffic is horrendous or you got caught with whatever.
Go ahead, Liz.
So two things. One is to be clear, being late is being late, not being absent. So being late is less of a demerit or whatever than being absent. So I kind of actually like the 30-minute standard. I would suggest that when we are writing up the norms, the policy or whatever, what Tanisha said, giving people grace while holding people accountable, that's the spirit of what the rule is, whatever the rule winds up being. And if people understand that we're not all like nanny wagon going, oh, you were 32 minutes late, but that the point is we all have lives, but we are here to do a thing and we can't do that thing if you're not here. And I just think how you put that was beautiful and should be our standard.
Yeah.
For whatever it is we decide, and it sounds
I
like
think the
landing on
issue
30
has
minutes
been-
late is solid.
Yeah, I think the issue has been for me at least, people not saying, oh, I can't make it, or I'm going to be late, or just not communicating at all. And I am very, very anal and very organized. So I have Paola send emails to all of my committee meetings like, hey, we have a committee meeting. I need to know who's going to be here, who's going to take the minutes. I try to like set that up all, you know, beforehand, and still I can't get no answers where I'm hitting people up like, hey, are you coming to the meeting? You know, so.
I'm gonna say, I think we should, the 30 minutes, I think
Yeah.
it's fair.
30
It's your
minutes.
grace period and
Sounds good.
this is a priority, it's obligation.
It's an obligation.
Change my mind.
You wanna be
I've
here,
now
you
flipped
don't.
from qualitative to quantitative.
Well, so, but
The original, should have defined it.
But we're defining late, we're not defining substantial portion of the meeting, right?
Correct.
And so I still think, here's how this sounds like it's turning out.
Exactly.
Because not being present for a substantial portion of the meeting does deem you absent according to our bylaws.
Right.
That's the wording in the bylaws. So I think we still have to institute the percentage or something
Mhm.
to define substantial portion. Now, that said, separately, late could mean 30 minutes, and that's reflected on the minutes, L,
Mm-hmm.
30 minutes or later. Perhaps the way we link those two together from a process perspective is if you're showing, if the office or the secretary or assistant secretary identifies X number of L's next to your name over that 6-month period where they're conducting their review, that triggers a review also into whether you are substantially attending your meetings.
I mean, if you're looking at if somebody's late,
Yeah.
but then, and they've got a whole bunch of, they got out of 8 meetings, they got 5 lates.
Yeah.
And you go through and you look at the attendance and at the minutes, and you see that for all of the lates, this person was, 31 minutes late. And substantially participated like in robust discussion and whatever, then yes, they were late. But yes, they met the criterion for substantial participation. So I don't know that we necessarily have to define substantial participation as it is in the bylaws, because that feels like.
It's too discretionary. Like, my concern is that it ends up being like whoever's reviewing in that moment is deciding what that means. Yes.
I think the consent, number one, we came up with 65%, whatever that is.
That's
That's the consensus. I think we have to have a numerical, method for doing substantial, whatever participation. Okay. Now, the only question, we already, I think we seem to like my idea, you sign in. When you leave, you sign out. If you don't sign out, we just assume you left right away. You didn't sign out. And again, otherwise scammers would just do that, sadly.
Scammers.
Yeah, and the only really other question is, when does the meeting start? Okay, and there are only really 2 possibilities. It would be either at the time it was called, which is sort of extreme, but then again, it would basically almost force people to be there on time, so maybe we want to be extreme. And the other alternative, as Liz alluded to so beautifully ironically, is when we finally have a quorum, and it will occur when the late person finally shows up. So, the more hard-nosed way, and I think I'm seeing some nods, is the meeting starts in terms of, substantial participation when we call it for.
Mm-hmm.
And now if we want, we can soften that by, saying you want 60%. Or we can harden it by saying 70%. But, and let me just give you one, and I used this line before on someone, was on Nobles. When I was a kid, my parents were active, in the Parents Association, and my father coined, and it's used in other contexts too, what he called Parents Association time, because those meetings never started up. So, but I think, and in fact, one of the reasons I think we moved, and in fact, there's sort of an irony, one of the reasons we moved the start time up to 6:30 is everyone was always half an hour late, and this way we get them all there by 7.
Mm-hmm.
Because we used to start the meeting at 7 and they would only show up at 7:30. But again, if you, and then, the other thing we could decide, is if we're not gonna play games, we could have the meeting start at 7 again. But, if you're not, okay, we'll stick with 6:30. And I know Liz seems to have some objection, so we'll be happy to hear. But, from the nodding I'm seeing, the time the meeting is called for is when that period starts. And the period, the entire meeting period ends when the meeting was adjourned. And you have to be there for 65% of the time.
Indiana and then Liz.
I like the idea of calling the meeting whenever, or calculating the time from whenever we start the meeting, because it takes out the discretionary factor, like you're saying, of the jury, like what was substantive and what wasn't. And usually we let like community members who come speak first. And if it's a tardy issue, right, then that person is constantly missing the community portion. So I favor starting it whenever, starting the clock whenever the meeting starts. The other thing with that is that, yes, you should have like a general agenda that you can see in advance of the meeting, but it's hard to say exactly how hard a meeting is gonna go. And so like, for example, I've had a meeting that was an hour, so 30 minutes late would have been 50% attendance. So I think rather than setting like a firm time, the percentage, I still really support that, and starting it at the, like, once we, call the meeting to order, whether or not we have quorum.
So I think there's 3 possible ways you can calculate what's
The public session.
well, no, for now.
Current doesn't visit forum either.
Hey, how about if I say what I'm gonna say and then you can comment on it after I say it, rather than commenting on what you think I'm going to say before I've said it? Does that work for you?
Today.
Cool. So there are 3 ways to calculate the time that a meeting started. One way is the posted time that it was scheduled to start. One way is when the meeting was called to order in the presence of a quorum. The third way, which is later than the first one, but earlier than the second one, is when the person running the meeting starts the meeting and says something like, I am starting this meeting in the absence of a quorum.
That's what I mean.
All of us in this room who have run meetings have, I think, done that thing probably more than once. So we do it at general meetings. We're like, we don't have a quorum yet, so we're gonna, the district manager is gonna give his report. Or we're in committee, we don't have a quorum yet. Indiana texted me and said that she was gonna be 20 minutes late because she had a work thing. And Heidi texted me and said she's stuck on the train. Hopefully she'll be here soon. So let's start with the roundtable of arts organization reports, and we'll get to the meat of the meeting when we have a quorum and we begin. So I would say when the meeting starts, whether there's a quorum or not, should be, and for the most part with committee meetings, like committees that are supposed to start at 6:30, I'm sorry, I'm a little flustered right now when we start at, 6:35. But I think that should be the starting point. And for the general meeting, anybody's guess. I personally think that members should be here for the public session.
I'm not against that idea. If we have a meeting at 6:30 and you go on at 6:31, you're late, right? When you clock into work, a minute late, you're late. Now going back to the quantitative amount, 65%, 70%, whatever it is that we decide on, I think that's what you should base it on whoever comes in. So if you're past 6:30, you're late. Now, did you attend 70% of the meeting, depending on the time you got there, or from the time the meeting started at 6:30? It's a 12-hour meeting, you should have been there for an hour and a half, maybe a little less than that. So if you weren't there for it, then now that counts towards quantitative party there.
Wait, you would really call somebody who comes at 6:31 for a 6:30 meeting as late?
I mean, you're late. It's your late. Doesn't necessarily mean that you won't count towards quorum. You're late. I'm going to work, right? I'm supposed to be at work every day at 7 o'clock. If I get there at 7:02, I'm late. I can't split. I'm late.
You gotta be at work at 7 o'clock.
So I feel like I think I'm sorry, Jim, go ahead, and then I'm gonna close it.
It's actually a point of order. So
Go for it.
without a quorum, there is no meeting. You have this informal session, you can talk about whatever you want. We sometimes, have people do reports and whatever, but technically the meeting hasn't started, it's not a meeting.
Yeah.
You need a quorum to have a meeting.
Right.
So therefore, your criterion of when the person starts this informal thing, I don't believe is parliamentarily acceptable.
I think this is a discussion that we'll have to continue having. So I think we revisit it next month. For the purposes of the V 1.0 of the member attendance policy going out. There's that bracketed highlighted space in the policy for this discussion once we do decide how we want to fill that in. But in the meantime, I do want the rest of that to go out so the board still knows what the other obligations are. Any objection to that? Okay. See,
No. So the upshot is ultimately we're gonna all marinate on this.
and then next month revisit for V 1.1.
Okay.
But in V 1.0, just to transition this conversation, there is a section on virtual attendance. This is technically, I guess, old business. I'm just stating it for the record. As of now, section 103A of the open meetings law, which enables us to have virtual participation at our meetings.
103.
Allows us to have virtual participation, allows for certain members to count towards quorum if attending online, is set to expire on June 30th of this year. So that is flagged in this policy. Now, Senator Robert Jackson and some other senators have introduced legislation to make that section permanent with modifications. It's currently sitting in committee at the state legislature. I will keep the group updated on any movement, but for now, we operate on the assumption it's expiring until our legislature passes legislation and the governor signs it.
Do we wanna have a resolution?
So this is, I was gonna ask, I've done like a light survey of board members and I've gotten pretty much 50-50. Board members want it, board members don't want it. It is a topic for discussion at the borough board meeting on Thursday. I'm interested to see if other board chairs or boards in general are taking a position. But given that our state senator is one of the sponsors of this legislation, perhaps it would be useful for us to think if we want to support it, oppose it, or support it with conditions or modifications.
I'm so sorry. Which is the legislation?
Yeah, I can get the bill number. It is legislation to make section 103 permanent. 103A permanent, which allows for virtual participation.
Sandy, do you want to attend the board on the borough president's meeting and then board test next month so we
Sure.
can figure out the residents one?
Sounds good.
Is there any way that the board office can send us the list for your committee specifically of people who are excused? I know we see it in the attendance, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I come in, I sign this and I don't even look at it again throughout my meeting.
So a list of people who are exempt.
It's usually up at the front, so I let it, and I'm running everything else on mine, taking notes. It's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, we could do
So
that.
that I at least know who should be and who shouldn't.
Indiana.
I will just add as an advocacy point, I do really like the virtual. I know I have certainly taken advantage of it and I do have a medical excuse. And so I feel like, you mentioned I may be able to continue doing that, but I think that it also makes us aware to think about like, did we get the link out? I was gonna sign in early and find the link and, make sure like, I think holds us accountable a little bit, right? To just constantly remember that there's people online, helps us reach others. And yeah, I even without the medical excuse, I think I would have appreciated being able to join online.
Yeah, thank you. That is it, I think, on old business, unless anyone has any other old business. So we have two more agenda items, new business and then
Wait a minute.
announcements.
The 103A part was considered old business.
Yeah,
Okay.
Are we doing committee reports?
that's
Wait.
agenda item number 9.
So those would be announcements?
Yes,
No, those are committee reports. And
New management.
yeah, they're now announcements.
de facto, they are withdrawing them.
You can use up your 3 minutes to do whatever you want. It says in parentheses, each committee receives 3 minutes. Yeah.
That being said, on committee reports.
Can we just call it announcements and committee
Yeah,
reports?
but being on the committee reports at the general board meeting, and Indiana brought this part up a while
Yeah,
ago. I agree, as chairs, oftentimes other people can attend the meeting. I attended Parks the first time in a very, very long time. But I don't know what's going on in certain certain committees. I do think that everybody should do their spiel during that time so we can all be on the same page of what's going on.
yeah, Thank you.
I think it's a great.
that's old business. So thank you for raising in this section of the agenda. I think I ultimately decide the order, but I would love to know, survey of this group, how many people would be in favor of moving committee reports up on the agenda to
Before Rezo.
before Rezo, but after public session?
Yes.
In favor, raise your hand.
Oh my God, yes.
Opposed? I
But
don't-
they have to be limited to 3 minutes.
Well, yes. Yeah, and honestly, yeah, yes, of course, yes, 3 minutes,
When was it, before the resolutions?
Right before
but
Rezo.
after public session.
People usually wait till Rezo's
I
vote.
hope
and
you're
then-
looking at my vote also.
I see it. You're in favor? Is your hand
'Cause I'm
still?
the only one online, so,
Yes, okay. Are you in favor of it?
yeah, I raised my hand.
Great,
And you
thank
said this would go after the public session and before
The resolutions.
the resos.
Well, but the
That's in-
resolutions are intertwined with the committee reports.
Right, but what happens is the committees that are reporting, the committees that don't have resos report after we've done the resos, after we do the voting, and after people have scattered
Yes.
like roaches when you turn on the lights. So for people who have reports that are meaningful and helpful about what they did at the last meeting or are doing at the next meeting, but don't have a reso, it's like it never happened.
And I will say, it's been the tradition that if someone is proposing a resolution that they don't have a report, and I don't necessarily agree with that. Because our committees are doing other things in that month other than passing their resolution.
Correct.
And so I would expect each chair who wishes to give a report, regardless of whether they have a resolution, to still be able to provide their 3-minute report at the general meeting.
I think, like, I agree, but also I think our electeds, like, their reports are important, but I also think that their reports should be limited to future things. Like, I don't want to hear about you giving out 5,000 turkeys 2 months ago, right? Like, like, I understand why they're doing that, but I also think
Yeah.
they could use their 2 minutes to talk about future things that are coming up as well. And I don't think that's a rule, but that's again, like, we're in a new management, so I feel like we have an opportunity to institute new norms, and I think that could also help.
I can give that feedback for sure.
Yeah.
Yes, 95%. I think that if what an elected is reporting on that's in the past is, hey, just came from Albany.
Oh,
And here's
yeah,
what we just passed in the budget.
Yeah, yeah.
Like sometimes the thing that they
Yes,
just
that's
did
fair.
is very relevant,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I personally would love it if the elected officials and their representatives did not treat the community board as like a mini town hall.
Right.
That's not what those meetings are.
Yep.
And, it's great to hear a budget thing, or this is what I'm fighting for, this is the legislation that I introduced or I'm gonna introduce or whatever. Here's these tenants that are getting screwed over by Pinnacle. We had a big meeting about it. Great. The other fluff, huh?
What do you want them to cover?
Legislation, budget, and future items. Steve, did you have a comment? It sounded like you had a comment.
I don't think you can tell the elected officials what they should say. You give them the 2 or 3 minutes. It's up to them how they wanna.
I mean, I can give them feedback. They don't have to listen to it.
Right.
You can't restrict what they want to say.
No, for sure. Jim and then Indiana.
Basically, I both agree with Steve and with Anthony. By all means, we give them feedback on what we would like to hear, but it's their 2 or 3
Yes.
minutes and they can talk about whatever they want.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's their 2 or 3 minutes, not.
Well, I think, what we do with the public session is the only questions that can be asked are clarifying questions. We could add that criterion to questions of elected officials.
Yeah. Agreed. Indiana and then Steve.
This might be wishful thinking, and I know I'm pushing quite a lot of ideas this meeting, but I actually think that it would be helpful if the elected officials or their representatives went after our committee reports, right? And that also can, to me, like, to Lizzie's point about substantive discussions, like, I wanted to know here, like, normally what they give their speech and then they're out, right? And they give us all the 3 shiny things that they want to flash, and like, we'll take a question or 2 back, but then they're gone, right? So to me, that doesn't serve too much of a purpose, right? I know it's pushing it, but I would love for them, or maybe in our discussions, being like, listen, we're asking that you guys stay for these committee updates. We're gonna have them right after you all give your updates. Please, can you stay? And if they don't stay, then we can say, or we're saying like, if that is a problem, then we're gonna switch and we're gonna have these go first as like a little bit of a
I mean, again,
incentivizing factor, but.
I could
Point of
choose.
information.
Yeah, yeah.
We used to do it that way. Many, many years ago, the committee, the elected officials reported last.
Oh.
And this was back when our meetings were 5 hours
I
long.
mean, to me, that makes sense.
And
I want to comment on that.
I have a point of clarification for you, though, for your proposal. Is it, so it's call to order, agenda, adopt agenda, adopt minutes, public session. Or, well, sorry, the report, the chair report, district manager report, public session, committee reports, electeds, then resos. Does that sound right?
Yes, or I would be fine switching if you wanted to switch like public session. So that it was after the committee reports.
Well, no,
I would be
can't-
fine with that, but
can't-
okay, that's fine. So I was just saying, I would be fine with that, but I'm not asking for that, but yes, it would be. The DM report, public session, committee reports, electeds.
Got it.
resos.
I think Steve was next and then Jim. He had his hand up. Steve, go ahead.
Well, on this last point, so if I'm giving my committee report, can I speak to why we passed the resolution, which we're gonna vote on later? Can I refer to the resolution at all?
It's your time. I
What?
mean, yeah,
Yes, okay.
it's your time.
And on Indiana's point, and what Liz referred to is that, yes, in the past, we have tried to move the elected officials reports towards the end of the meeting. They vociferously argued that we were discriminating against them or denying them a chance to speak to their constituents, or because by the time they would speak, everybody was gone. So we ended up changing it, and chances are, if we did it again, we would hear from them. But let me just say, if you're gonna give them guidance, what I would like you to advise them is that when they come to our meetings, they should be prepared to speak about the items that are on our agenda. Drives me nuts that they come to these meetings and don't even seem to be aware of what are the issues that are uppermost on the community board's agenda. And they don't know what we're talking about. They don't know that what we're voting on. If you ask them what their position is on resolution X, they don't know. They don't know what they're not aware that the resolution is even on the agenda. I have a real problem with that. And let me tell you, I used to be an elected official representative. I used to come to these meetings. I used to give reports at each one of these meetings. And I would study what was on the agenda. I would know what was being discussed.
Jim, and then we'll move on.
This is sort of a continuation of what we was talking about. And I've actually been on the board far longer than Steve has, because among other things, while he worked. for the
But I've been attending these meetings much longer than you.
Oh, boy. Well, that may be, but
guys, put them away, will you?
Let's not get into the competition, fellas.
Anyway, as he said, originally tried to have elected officials speak near the end, and they had tantrum. So what we did is we came up with a compromise. If their butt comes to talk, they can talk early, but their representative can only speak afterward. And that forces the representatives, unless they're gonna come late, to be there for a substantial part of the meeting and observe it. And so I think that's what we should do. And again, you know, one of the people who's gonna complain to us if we try to do that is the borough president who appoints us. So, and on some level, of course, they are in fact elected officials. We are mere appointees, and there's quite a difference. But with that sort of compromising thing, we got away with.
Okay.
And again, it had the salutary effect of forcing the representatives to be there for most of the meeting.
Right. All right, let me think on this a little bit more.
you should provide.
Yeah.
First.
Oh, well, yes,
Yeah.
I will do that.
Do what?
Provide
Feedback.
feedback on the content of the reports. New business, I have on here, common letter on citywide statement of needs. So city puts out a citywide statement of needs, namely to describe what the agencies need going into the next fiscal year. From what I can tell, most of that statement is agencies being kicked out of their current quarters and looking for new quarters somewhere in the city. And they call on community boards, the borough boards, and the borough presidents to look at the statement and provide comments. There's no criteria on what or how. And something I'm thinking about is, well, we don't have a lot of agencies here in our district. And a bunch of them are being kicked out of downtown due to a number of reasons. One is there's a building down there, 100 Gold Street, that's being converted into affordable housing. And so every agency that was in there, and there's quite a number of them, are being kicked out and they're looking for new offices.
We ain't got space.
We have some. And look, my thing is I don't look, you're right, we don't have space we don't have the giant office space that they would need if they wanted to put their entire agency in one place. But that's the problem. The problem is why are the agencies only in one place? Shouldn't they have multiple offices throughout the city that they serve? And so I think there is a world where we can write a comment letter to that effect, welcoming them to Community District 12. Hey, we have some office space for you to put some of the teams.
We do?
We do. 181st Street, there's commercial office space on that.
Oh, when you said we as a district,
Oh,
I was
no,
looking
not us.
around like.
Not
"Oh,
us.
there's Space in this.
No, I mean us as a district.
Oh, yeah.
And I want them to consider that. I want them to be here. And I think, again, like we're not going to get all 2,500 staff members of HPD who are being kicked out of 100 Gold Street, but they should consider having some teams here.
I give you Exhibit A, the district attorney, which has an office in
Right.
in CD 12.
And yeah,
Yes.
yeah, agreed.
I mean, there's a borough office for parks.
Well, the Parks has a district office, sanitation department has a district office, social services has an office. I think if you look closely, there are a number of city agencies that have offices in District 12. And not every agency only has one office. I mean, that's
The example I'm using is HPD, which is
okay, well, HPD.
We need HPD up
That's
here.
that's a particularly unique issue because of what's happening at 100 Gold. But HPD has other offices. And HPD has an office, Broadway and 132nd Street. They used to have an office on 207th Street, when I first started working for the council.
but they don't now.
What?
So we can encourage them to come back to 207th Street.
Well, yeah, but-
I think that's what I'm thinking about in terms of a comment letter is how
Yeah.
can we get them back here if they're not here currently?
Wait a minute, so HPD's office at 100 Gold is being turned into housing
The whole building is, yeah.
and, well, that's ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like some special initiative, perhaps you know more, but the almost 60% of
Mhm.
the citywide statement of needs has to do with that big vacating of.
Well, but
Got it.
Anthony, there must be other things in that statement of needs that deal with other issues besides office relocation.
Actually, there isn't. The only one that is different is that there's an appendix to it that has to do with school projects, but it just says project number 1, project number 2. And so I have to figure out what that relates to because it's not part of the actual document. But no, that statement of needs is literally just office space of our various agencies.
That is nuts.
Yeah.
So, we should have a comment about that, the agencies must have other needs.
Yeah.
Bring it
We need
in.
to hear what other needs they have that actually serve, needed to serve our district.
Agreed. So more to come on that front. I've asked some of the committees to
And
consider.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
there are things called, there used to be district budget consultations every summer. Ebenezer told me they were discontinued. And that's something we should check on.
The
But-
budget consultations.
District budget consultation.
That's
The
true.
district manager would meet with the local heads of each of the relevant agencies and discuss what their budget needs were. And I would count on him to give me that information in order to consider what our budget priorities were for my committee. And then, when I asked him a couple of years ago, he told me it was discontinued. I'd like to check on whether or not
Sure.
that's really the case.
It bit the bag in COVID and it never came back.
Well, I'd like to check on that.
Okay.
And then beyond that, there are borough budget consultations that are held every September. In which, and I participate in those. And usually one of the questions the district managers ask of each agency is, what are your needs? What would you like us to advocate for? And so there's information that's then provided to the community boards every September.
That's great. I will look into that because I didn't know that was something.
It was really interesting.
Yeah.
It used to be major thing.
Well, I.
Oh, the good old days.
Okay, can we?
Any other new business?
Oh, so we're planning a recruitment outreach event for the end of this month. We're working with a local running group. The reason we target the local running group is because they service or they have a bunch of professionals in their network. So we wanted to kind of get.
We run Uptown or Uptown runs?
We
Or
looked uptown
Dykeman,
and
or-
Or
I think it was both of them.
Oh, okay, great.
So we just wanted new crop, right? Obviously, as Anthony mentioned, we have a bunch of board members leaving, including one that we're probably gonna move out. And we need to get fresh bodies, people who wanna come to our meetings, people who wanna participate. I think that's the biggest part of it. You can sign up to be in a community board, but if you're not working, if you're not doing the work, then what's important? So anyways, it was supposed to be next Thursday. Unfortunately, it's miscommunication from their end, so we're gonna push it to February 12th, Thursday, February 12th. You won't be here? It's up.
Got a fundraiser that I'm doing on February.
February 12th?
It's up Thursday.
What type of?
It's
It
a
would be,
recruitment event.
yeah, it's from 6 to 9 PM.
And
What's the
it's
event?
not a run.
It's not no, it's, we're choosing a local place, local restaurant, and just have, pretty much, we're gonna have QR codes for the community board application.
Gotcha. Nice.
Hopefully, a bunch of members are able to attend, so we can let the community know what we do, who we are, so they can see that we're all pretty different.
Wait, why can't we do it February 4th?
The chair won't be in
I
town.
will not.
Oh, that's a very good reason to not do it
We will love
February. Should we do it February 19th?
Public outreach to encourage.
President's Day.
Yes, so,
No, that's.
so
Next week.
we will have one at the end of February as well. Another recruitment event. Again, guys, I don't want it to be spearheaded by us two. Need everybody on top of this. So if you have ideas, if you have a network, we want to get out to the community. That's the point of this, is to really get out there and not only recruit to be board members, but to be public members, to have our meetings stream in their restaurants, please. We want to get out there. So this is lined up event so that we can go out there.
Education, so I won't be.
Indiana
I was just
Oh,
saying
you
that
have a-
application deadline,
is
is it the same for existing board members as, so February 27th?
the application deadline, yeah, but it's shortened. So there's only like, there used to be 4 essays. It's only 2 now, and the first one is just like list all the organizations you serve on in your community. So there's only one real substantive essay now in the application. So it shouldn't take folks that long to do. Now, historically, borough president always extends it anyway.
Oh, okay.
I think they set it so ambitiously because in the years past, like recent years, they were extending it into like the first week of April, and that was just
Yeah.
bizarre. So they'll probably extend it to like maybe the first or second week of March, but you're right, we should target 27th as like the cutoff
Yeah,
of these
cutoff.
recruitment
Yeah,
events.
we want the people who would submit it by that.
So
Yeah, that's true.
in consideration of Tanisha, because again,
No, it's okay. You haven't one at the end of the about to.
I just want to make sure that we have as many board members. Again, we all
Yes.
are very different. I think
Mhm.
when the public sees that, they appeal that. Like we don't come from the same cloth.
I agree.
That's
Any-
very true.
Any other new business before we move on to our announcements and committee reports?
Does anybody have a pair of tweezers?
Well, the 12th, and we'll have one on the 26th. This is-
Well, the Friday.
Is there a first?
There-
fit in the-
Yeah, there definitely is.
They're definitely in the
it's one day,
kitchen.
so maybe
Okay.
it gets, we can do week to week. Again, I'm open to ideas. Whatever you guys.
Yeah,
think
we'll
works
have
best.
to move it up because, we don't know that they're gonna extend it, because they do get lots of applications.
That's true.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, announcements. Let's start with Mary. Mary, do you have any announcements or a committee report for your committee?
Just wanted to review that we had a wonderful presentation at our last meeting from the Committee for Hearing and Communications, the agency for hearing communications. And if anybody wants me to send the PowerPoint to them, just let me know. There's a lot of information and, you know, want to spread that information far and wide. They have support groups and all kinds of things that they do. I don't yet have a presenter for our next meeting. I don't know if anybody has any thoughts. Liz, we could talk about that offline probably. And the other reminder I wanted to, you know, talking about evening February events, I'm going to be busy rehearsing with People's Theater a good share of the February evenings. So my ability to be involved elsewhere will be slim, but I will try to do my best. And that's it.
Great. Good luck on your rehearsals. I'm excited to go see the shows once they're ready.
I would say break a leg, but it might not be appropriate in your case. I don't know.
Please don't say that to me, you know.
Hey, Mary, can you just send me a quick summary of your comments? I was out of the room.
I took it.
Oh,
I
okay.
can send it to you. I got it, Mary. Thank you.
Never mind, thank you.
I'll just go from my right to left. Indiana, you have an update?
Yes, so for Housing and Human Services, just want to put some flags on your radar for the district statement of needs. Some of the sections and the facts about the makeup of our community district and things like that were updated with the 2020 census information. Some of the narratives for the individual, like Housing and Human Services, or I think it's like Health and Human Services, Housing, those sections have not been updated. The statistics are from like 2010 census, and so we are going to, in my committee, like update those numbers and send it to Anthony. So I would encourage you guys to look. I mean, we did like a super cursory look and found the updated numbers relatively quickly. The other thing I wanted to put on your radar about the report is that at least in our, like my committee has two sections that the issues are split on. Some of the sections like didn't touch any of the housing proposals. Like, you know, they weren't in the housing and they weren't in the human services proposal either. And so just encourage you to like, I think there's like one sentence about it, like, and we want housing. So we're going to draft a little bit about that. And then the final thing was double check that the agencies that are assigned to each of your proposals are correct, because we had a lot of housing proposals that for some reason were all classified under HRA or like a different agency. And I think some of them might be right. I don't want to like completely say that they're wrong.
And this is the which report?
The statement of
The district statement.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it, thank you.
So just double check the agencies that they're assigned to.
I'll say on that last piece, I can send the update to DCP, but they're already soliciting the agency responses.
Okay.
So if there are incorrect agencies marked, and I don't know if that would have been the DM's fault or DCP's fault.
I can't imagine.
But they're not, but they're not gonna have, they don't have the resource, I think, at this point to go and get a new agency response.
Well,
If nothing
can I
else,
just
though, like we're
request-
putting it for next year on the radar.
Can I request that everybody, I got a splinter in my thumb and then the whole like writing thing is not working for me so much. So people could just send me quickly their reports, you know, whatever the 2-sentence summary of your report so I can roll that into the minutes. I appreciate it.
Did you have a point of clarification?
well, you're talking about the board's budget,
Yes.
so budget request.
Yes.
So, I handle that for the Parks Department. So if I get a request that's been sent to me by mistake, which really doesn't belong to Parks, my job is to tell OMB that, and they then reroute it to the appropriate agents.
Great.
So if one of you ever request went to HRA by mistake, it hopefully got rerouted to HBD when HRA saw it and realized it didn't belong to that.
Hopefully, yes, thank you.
And perhaps we'll see that then in the final report when we get it next month. So,
Hopefully
keep-
HRA employs guys like you.
yeah. Heidi, do you have anything from land use?
No.
Okay, traffic and transportation.
Yeah, a couple of things. So obviously we have DOT and NTR meetings. We passed the joint resolution with parks, and I'm gonna let Liz did a great job writing the resolution.
Thank
Kind of
you.
encompass it, but we passed another resolution, and that is for the People's Theater. The People's Theater is required by DOT to have no parking signage in front of their locale. It's about 3 spots we're gonna be taking away from that new development. And yeah, we passed unanimously in the committee to require. And then the other piece of it is, again, I'm gonna let Liz discuss the Dolphin Park as well. But I spoke to Port Authority last Monday. It's a pretty short conversation, but they will be reopening the park in the spring. That's their commitment. They're currently sourcing. Well, a couple of recommendations they have for maintenance partners. They did ask the community board that if we know any organizations, any CBOs, send them their way. It's not required. They're not asking us to do the legwork. But if we know anybody, obviously we know our area the best that have the resources, and it's expensive to maintain a park. Send it their way. But we should be opening in spring now. Liz will tap along the Lezo.
Yeah, so there's a Dolphin Park. I'm sure you're all familiar with it because it's come before us in the public session and it's been a part of committee discussion if you've read those minutes. But there was a joint was taken up at Leo's meeting and then again at Parks. Joint reso passed unanimously by both committees that outlined some of the history of the park, when it opened, what it looked like, how it was operated, the fact that it closed because of the renovations for the bridge, and that it then never reopened because the agency that had the community-based organization that had been providing that support sort of no longer was really in existence on account of the death of the founder and executive director of that group. I'm delighted to hear that the Port Authority is planning on reopening it. If any groups come to our attention that would be willing to run it, that would be great, but I think it would also be nice if the Port Authority was willing to help fund that, and given that they have more money than God, wouldn't kill him to throw some small CBO 20 grand,
Don't let them
Just
tell
saying.
them.
Just saying.
Our transportation just went up. They said they ain't got it.
Well, no, this isn't the MTA, this is the Port Authority.
Right,
Steve,
big difference.
So to be clear, so the Port Authority is gonna open up the Dolphin Park regardless of whether or not there is a maintenance partner.
Well, they're vetting through a couple maintenance partners. So they will open in the spring as a commitment. They will do it with a maintenance partner. So they have some organizations they're looking at, but they're open. If we have any recommendations, they'll also review those organizations. They'll also vet.
But what happens if they don't find one? And I think our position should be that regardless of whether or not there's a maintenance partner, the Port Authority should open this
So
park.
that's a good point. The reso actually holds not only Port Authority, but all agencies involved accountable for that.
Well, the only agency involved is the Port Authority.
Port Authority.
it's the only agency.
Yeah, elected officials.
Right.
They own the property.
I
And the Port Authority has plenty of resources, as Liz mentioned. There's no reason they can't open and close this park and send somebody in there every day to clean it. And it's right next to the bridge.
This
Is this a
was
question?
discussed in committee, I
This
don't.
is further what, sorry. But I'm allowed to talk. They don't need a maintenance partner. One thing they could do, which of course they're not gonna do because of stupid politics or whatever, is they could pay the Parks Department to run the damn thing for them. They can't? Of course they can't. They could fund it, this is just this bureaucratic thing they don't wanna do.
All right.
To not be discussing.
Tanisha, do you have an update from Youth and Education?
Yes, I have a few sentences. So, charter schools in our community are out of control. It seems that these past 2 decades that each and all of them have been allowed to plant in our community. They have been really mistreating the children and the parents in our community, doing things like banning parents from the school. But the children are excellent students and are excellent musicians. And then they're doing things like criminalizing the parents and calling them violent. But see, what they didn't, what they didn't understand is that some of these parents I know, and I've known since they were kids. And I know that, I've talked to at least 5 parents. Our biggest concern right now is KIPP. KIPP is still in space, the Maribel campus on 160, what is that, 168th? 167th? They are getting, the KIPP charter school is getting more time in the dance hall and in the gym than the public schools there. So I'm in touch with Central about that. I have to say that I'm really discouraged that all of the chairs, besides my Domingo, because I was here for him, but that the charter schools and the way that they treat our kids and our parents in this community has not been a bigger issue since before Tanisha Grant. It's really, really bad of what's going on with these charter schools and how they treat our kids. My thing is, if a parent is violent, and if you're saying that you're banning a parent because they're threatening your staff and they're threatening, other kids and they're threatening other parents, then why have you had this child in the school since kindergarten? She's now in the 7th grade. She's an excellent student. She's an excellent musician. But yet her parent has not been able to come to a recital in 3 years. Wow. So we had a meeting with them today, me and our councilwoman, and I have to say, they tried to use we can't talk about it. And we're like, how you can't talk about it when a parent literally came here to our committee meeting to tell us about it? If you have the parents' permission to talk about something that's happening in the school, what's the problem? But this is the issue. Charter schools have very little transparency and accountability. Very different than public schools. But they're supposed to be public schools, right? Like this Wynn Charter School just got a $45 million building built for them on 161st. First they was at Stitt, then they was at St. Rosa's, who I'm sure people know. St. Rosa's Catholic School on 164th was there like way before I believe we all were born. That is now gone now, but now is a Zeta. Zeta wants it. So I'm encouraging y'all to help me to hold these charter schools accountable and let them know that they can't come into our community and, do whatever they want. Because if the parent is such a bad person, is such a violent person, why are you keeping her kid in your school?
Yeah.
Because her kid is a commodity.
Yeah.
They're doing things like reaching out to people and, parading her kid for scholarships without even talking to her. And then sending the paperwork home like, oh, you should have your kid go here. No mother have my kid go nowhere if you didn't sit and give me the respect as a parent. I'm talking to some children. Wynn Charter School, the 6 through 8 kids do not have recess. They have that big, beautiful building, Anthony, and they stopped them kids from having recess last year, talking about it was a difficult decision. They know nothing about culturally responsive education. They know nothing about social emotional learning. So y'all will be hearing a lot from me. Me and Anthony talking about having like a public hearing on it because it's not just them. It's all the charter schools, and they've been allowed to operate without any oversight. And it wasn't until, this girl came to me at the community board that they're even answering, because they're telling her things like they're telling her parents things like they can't have parent advocates. I don't care if you're in public school, wherever, you are allowed to have somebody who understands how the school system works and who wants to stand there with you. The parent can say, I need to have somebody here to support me. They are shutting all of that down.
That's just
Some of these parents, they can't even talk to people in the school. They are designated to talk to one school official, administrator, and none of the other people will talk to them. It's really bad. bad. It's really bad. So that is something that we will be handling in partnership with Carmen and with our, with our elected officials, because it's really bad and we have to get it under control.
Tanisha, I wanna be able to partner with you as well. We have issues, and Jim could attest to it, Mary as well, with Zeta Charter School at 218.
Yeah.
They're horrible neighbors when it comes to.
And they're looking to bring another one into our community.
So-
Triple
Oh,
cars.
Success
Sorry.
Academy?
And on that one, I think it's this,
No.
there's a BSA application coming.
Zero.
And I
Zeta.
have it here.
Well, so the application
They want to.
didn't come before,
Zeta
Larry,
Charter School.
Yeah,
but like, make sure you're
yeah,
there.
yeah.
I will,
It's really, really horrible. And they have just been able, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to join the community board. I know I'm taking a little bit of time, but it's my birthday. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted to join the community board, because in my personal in my personal capacity, y'all know this is what I do.
Yeah.
Right? Y'all know this is what I do. So I had came to the community board to come on a meeting that was about charter schools, and it blew my mind that no one on the youth and education committee actually understood charter schools. And
now you're chair.
so now I'm chair, but what else? We passed 2 resolutions, we had conversation, we had a presentation about school bus contracts. As we know, school bus contracts are very, very, very horrible. And how it is now is a lot of our children, especially our children with special needs that need the school buses, because all of our children in our district that have special needs have to be bused out of the district because we ain't got no schools in the district for kids with special needs. 4 of them being my grandchildren. So, between the busing contracts and the way that they're doing it, like a lot of bus contractors are very, very malicious and nasty. So if bus drivers have tenure, they will fire them to hire new people so that they don't get the benefits. It's really bad. So we wrote a resolution so everybody can see it. There's some legislation that would clear that up. And some of our buses don't even have heat or air conditioner in the summertime. And the standard time for our kids to be on a bus is 90 minutes, y'all. So I know for sure, my grandkids get on the bus at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's right, Liz? So that's something else that we're working on. Steve gave me some friendly amendments, and most of them I'm going to take with the ands and however and therever and forever. But there's one thing that I'm going to check on that we're having a little dispute about. And yeah, stay tuned. Next month, we will have a resolution on Foundation Aid formula, because our kids ain't getting enough money for each of them to go to school. The Foundation Aid formula has not been updated since it was created, and that was 2007.
For this month, you have the reso on,
And I have the
Okay.
reso on AI. We have a reso on AI because they just want AI to teach our children at this point. So there's been a big advocacy. We were able to stop.
Send me your resume, because I might have something I want to add.
Yes, sir. There's there was some advocacy by parents and groups like Class Size Matter. That's another one. We had a presentation on class size. We have like 13 schools in our district that are overcrowded. And the class size law needs to be fully implemented by 2028, by the start of 2028. And the way that it's looking, we ain't gonna get there. They're also using a trick to exempt certain schools from following the class size. It's crazy. But so that's what we're doing in AI. Like we don't want artificial intelligence teaching our children, and we need drinking water. So we have a resolution that just simply says, like, let's, discuss this. Wow, because 2 of my members was like, they don't want to halt AI. So we was like, okay, we came to a compromise, but basically to do a study on it and see like what really are they trying to, these AI programs and this AI software and stuff that they're trying to use and pass through the panel of education policy. We want to know all of that stuff, what it is. So we're asking for a task force or committee or something to study, what this software would do in our schools. And that's it. That's a lot, right? I've been busy.
When you're done with.
Any
the
questions?
official announcements, I will have a very short one.
Do you have anything from business development?
Business development, we had a quick and to the point meeting. We had, some of my colleagues from Workforce One speak about hiring locally and the services offered by SBS Business Services. We're going to start thinking of an event that we want to do for the spring. I sent you the outline. Yeah, we're getting our full committee together now, so we're cooking with gas, so we're getting ready.
Great, thank you. Steve, anything from health?
Yes. First of all, should note that we're now in the second week of what's probably the longest and largest nurses strike in the history of New York City. With no prospect of being settled. Last time I checked, there weren't even any negotiations taking place. So we're in a very bad place right now in terms of our nurses. And the nurses union, the New York State Nurses Association, is coming to my committee on a regular basis, giving us updates. And I was hoping that the next time they come before my committee, they'll be telling us everything's been settled and we're able to reach amicable terms with the hospitals. But I'm fearful that may not be happening. Our committee passed two resolutions at its last meeting, one of which commends the acting New York City Health Commissioner for upholding New York City's commitment to protect the health of our children with vaccinations. Immediately after the R.F. Kennedy Jr. and the Centers for Disease Control came out with a new dictate that children should only be vaccinated for 11 instead of 17 diseases. Our health commissioner quickly issued a statement advising parents in New York City to continue with the previous policy, and we chose to do a resolution commending her for standing up for the health of our children. Our second resolution is in support of legislation pending in Albany for a packaging reduction and recycling act, which would declare that most that the manufacturers should reduce the amount of packaging and we should be able to increase recycling rates and reduce toxicity and packaging, and thereby providing billions of dollars in savings for local governments and taxpayers, while also lowering the greenhouse gas emissions.
And this is directed to whom?
Last thing I wanted to mention.
Steve, that reso is directed to whom?
To the state senate and state assembly. This is legislation.
Supporting what? Okay, thank you.
Last thing I want to mention is that we were approached by an organization called the Latina Health Project. They're interested in partnering with us to hold various workshops in the district to promote health and well-being, primarily among the Latina women. I believe this will be a very good initiative for the board to undertake. It will be to look upon it as being another effort to do outreach to parts of our community where we may not have had much impact up until now. This is something I would like to talk to Kiana about when she comes on board. And what I see is that we could possibly do this in conjunction with maybe the Dominican Women's Development Center, maybe with the Northern Manhattan Improvement Corporation, maybe with some of our other CBOs. But it's something I would like to have. I would like to have CB12 in front of as one of the prime sponsors.
I'm sorry, I wish that organization recognized all women of color.
There you go. There you go. Cause we not coming, cause we know we not wanted.
Not only focus on Latino women, but all women of color.
Not even all women,
The
not,
women in
you know,
general.
black women who live in this community, who we know die more than anybody else when they go to the hospital to have babies, when we say that we are in pain. And that is why we are divided, because we have community-based organizations that only serve one part of our population, and then other community-based organizations can't dare do that because they would never be allowed.
We can talk, this one obviously has a big vision. We can you certainly talk to other organizations about reaching out to, local communities. In fact, we have one that coming before me, my committee is, February, which I think is a likely possibility, the Ryan Health Network.
Okay.
That's true.
Thank you,
Thank
Leo.
Thank you, Steve. Steve, just out of for my own curiosity, did the committee decide not to pass a resolution one way or the other with regard to the strike? Whether to support NISNA or?
You know, we never, we never really discussed that. And they didn't really ask us to do it, but, and at that point, when we met, there was no strike. We were, maybe we were naive, maybe we thought, by the time, as has happened in the past, at the 11th hour, they come together and they reach an agreement, and that was my hope. So it wasn't we weren't, it wasn't really appropriate at that point to talk about supporting us, right?
I understood. Okay, and you had an announcement?
Yes, very important international news. The Kingdom of Denmark is thinking they may want to buy California.
Great. And let's
Oh
sell
my
it.
God, I love that so much.
Isn't that great?
Wouldn't it make more sense if they bought Maine?
Yeah.
Man.
Heidi, would you like to do the honors of moving for adjournment unless there's, because I know you want to do it in honor of birthday.
Just ask one question.
Yes.
I understand that I missed this earlier, but in the application by the cannabis store owner,
Yeah.
it says that it would generate tax revenue, a portion of which is required to be allocated to the community.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes, that's, where have you been, Steve?
don't know where it goes.
Where have you
but
been?
that's-
We don't know
that's
where it
the-
goes.
It was supposed to go to education.
That's
part of-
supposed to
that's
be the
part of the
law.
enabling,
Yeah.
that's part of the law.
It was supposed to
That's
go to
been the
education.
case. I would encourage you to reach out to Vladimir at Happy Monkey, and he can walk you through. He has the oldest established cannabis place. He can walk you through what that looks like, but
But the money comes to the community.
That's what they
It's
say,
supposed to.
Steve.
it's supposed to.
Supposed to go to
So
education.
we will figure that out.
He's supposed to go to education also.
Yes,
Yeah.
supposedly.
And to that end, Heidi, would you like to move?
Move to
I second.
adjourn and recognize Tanisha Grant's birthday.
I second.
Yes.
Okay.